Hi, and welcome to our Ask Me Anything for Goucher College. You can send your questions in using the chat function at the right of the video by email, askastudent@goucher.edu, or the 2023 Facebook page via our text at 410-469-8243. My name is Megan Steely, one of the admissions counselors here at Goucher, and tonight I'm joined by some current students. Want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from York, Pennsylvania, and I'm a first year.
And I'm Alton. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a senior.
So let's start off kind of the simple question. What drew you to Goucher?
All right. I was looking for a school that would allow me to grow in all of the aspects that I wanted and not just as an academic. And so I looked at a lot of schools that are similar to Goucher, small liberal arts schools. But what I really found in Goucher, in not only its curriculum, but in everything we do, is a desire to grow and recognize our capabilities to grow and why we should grow. And so I feel like I've grown a lot in just my first semester, and I don't imagine that's going to stop over my next several semesters here at Goucher, and I really just appreciate that opportunity.
I would like to say the small class sizes. I originally was homeschooled before I came to college, so I was used to having class with my mom and my brother in the kitchen. So having a class of only 15 people is a lot more enjoyable than being a number out of 100 students.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're going to start with one of the first questions. Vinny wants to know, what's one thing you were worried about when coming into Goucher, and how has that perspective changed? You want to start, Alton?
Yeah, I was a little worried about making friends, because I will say it so many times tonight, I was homeschooled, so I did not have a lot of friends throughout high school. But it was very easy making friends here. Everybody's very approachable. You can really spark up a conversation with anybody, really about anything. I've had hour-long conversations about a video game, and I've had 15-minute conversations about work. Like, you can really talk to anybody about anything here. That's what I really enjoy.
I think I worried about whether the school would be too small for me. I knew I wanted a small school, but I didn't know if it would feel similar to high school, where I felt like I knew the majority of the people I interacted with. But even though it is relatively small, I'm always learning and meeting new people, but I don't feel like there's so many people that I can never create those connections. I feel like there's so many people you can connect with.
Yeah, great answers. Next, Ryan, what kind of academic supports are offered at Goucher, and what do students like most about Goucher? So I want to start with the academic support side.
Sure, there are a lot of different ways you can find academic support. We have ACE, which is our Academic Center for Excellence. So we have academic coaches there who help you with different components, organizational strategies, avoiding procrastination, which is super important in college. And then there are SIs for classes, TAs. So those are student instructors, teachers assistants. They help with different components of class and like supplemental instruction. So you're never going to be without the academic support you need.
And also, all of our professors do have open office hours, and if you kind of just see them in their offices and they're just kind of hanging out, it's really nice having an open door policy. And for the second part of the question, what do students like about Goucher? The things that she just listed, because it's very handy having someone sit down with you, lay out all 4 of the syllabuses that you'll probably have, and write every one of your assignments, due dates just down in your schedule, and that's probably the most helpful thing.
You want to kind of elaborate on that too, outside of maybe the support side of things?
What else? I would say people do like that our campus is a very open campus. You can truly be whoever you want to be here, and I think that's probably the most important part about finding your college, is that you want a place that you're very comfortable being who you want to be for the next 4 years.
Chad?
True. It's super important to look for a college where you can grow academically, but Goucher really fosters a place where you don't have to feel as though you have to grow for the benefit of other people, and you can really just become who you're intended to be or who you want to become if you need that means to change your path.
Great. So Eve is asking, how often do students really go into Baltimore, and how accessible is it from Goucher's campus?
I would say if you have a desire to go into Baltimore, that's more answering the question. Like, if you have something that you want to do, But unless you know of something that you want to do, not a lot of students do go into Baltimore. But we do have a lot of programs that do go into the city. We'll have, with our community-based learning office, there is a program, the animal welfare program. You go into Baltimore and you help these abandoned animals get fostered. But unless you had something to do, you probably wouldn't be going into Baltimore. There is a college town shuttle, which is a free bus service that takes you from here to 4 other colleges in the area, and then to Penn Station, which is in downtown Baltimore. So it's very accessible. It's free as well, and it runs until about, I want to say, 1:30 into the night. So you can. It's very, very accessible.
Majority of students that I know that spend time in Baltimore go for concerts, museums, other events like that. So if there's a specific event you want to go to, you can, but there's so many things to do on campus that a lot of students find that they have entertainment here.
It's there if you want to experience it. Yeah. So Claire is wondering, she planned to major in studio art. Were some art programs eliminated? And if so, how will that impact me? So I can actually take that side of things. So while we no longer have the major in studio art, we do have a minor in studio art. But one of our new programs is the visual material cultures program. So what's really great with that is that you're using these primary sources, so whether it's paintings or different materials, to really study all of that. So it's a hands-on program, learning from all of these artifacts. So you still have the opportunity to create your art with the minor, and then also have this extra opportunity with the major as well. So you're utilizing the Goucher art collection, you're using the archives as well, historic preservation elements. So you're really having the opportunity to sort of delve into this bigger world of art. Then questions about the pre-professional concentration, specifically pre-law. Anything?
What about pre-law?
I'm a pre-med concentration.
Yeah, why don't you talk about
I can
that?
speak to that
Yeah.
one. So the majority of my classes are aimed towards chemistry, biology. I'm a chemistry major with the pre-med concentration, so the majority of my classes are chem, but what they're doing is trying to ensure that we are prepared for the MCAT. So there are classes I don't need for the chemistry major, but that I'll take to ensure that I'm prepared for the pre-med track. And so I'm sure pre-law is similar in that context, though I can't speak directly to the classes you take for that one.
Yeah, so it's all about preparing you for the next step. So for law school and that ultimate goal. We also have questions about the meal plans and how they work. We're going to talk about dining in general and all of that good stuff.
The way the meal plan works, it's broken down into 3 choices. You can either have the 10 meal plan, the 14, and the 17, or the 19. Mm-hmm. The 19, and each of those comes with $250 of dining dollars. So our dining building or dining hall, it's all in one spot. So you have the all you can eat on top, and then there's a grab and go on the bottom. The grab and go is where you can use your dining dollars to get sandwiches, pizza. There's actually an apple pie pizza, which is really good. There's the upstairs and the all you can eat. There's just so many options that every time I go there, there's always a lap to do. But they do work if that is the question, and you just have to know yourself. Like if you're gonna eat only 14 meals a week, because they do roll over, but you have 14 meals a week. So if you're going to eat 14, eat 14. But if you're not going to eat a lot and you probably cook for yourself, you probably want the 10.
So kind of a secondary question that I'm sure is implied with that. How is the food? We'll talk about all of that.
I love the food.
Yeah,
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm an avid eater. I don't think I could have stayed at this school for 4 years if we did not have good food. My favorite meal so far, it's always Stimsgiving, actually. It's not called Stimsgiving anymore because Stimson's gone, but every year our dining hall throws a giant Thanksgiving, and it's all free. There's so much food to eat. They always get there's always a band, there's always donuts, there's always
There's a shrimp bar.
There's a shrimp bar, there's eggnog bars, there's just too much food, and it's always a good time. If you ever join the Frisbee team, you'll know that you're a part of the Frisbee team if you go to Stimsgiving, because we always camp out for the whole day and just kind of have a blast before we eat a giant meal before we go on break.
Is there more of a day-to-day favorite meal? I know it's a hard question.
Fry.
Stir fry.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a Mongolian grill for stir fry, and it is wonderful.
Lots of combinations with that.
Yes.
But actually,
I know.
And kind of going along that, Gary is wondering if we have mac and cheese, and if so, is it good?
We occasionally have mac and cheese. There's also a create your own pasta bar, which is really nice.
I think all of next week is a mac and cheese week as well. So the Explore Bowls, we have a section which is Explore, and it's either mac and cheese bowls or taqueria bowls next week. I can't remember, but they do make a good mac and cheese. You kind of just have a selection of a whole bunch of different toppings that you can put on it as well. I love mac and cheese. Yeah, I'm with you, Gary.
Good question. Kine is wondering, where can students play piano for fun?
So we have several practice rooms on campus for people either in the music discipline or who just want to play piano for fun. In one of our residential halls, we actually have pianos throughout, and so you can use it. We also just have one in our dining hall. I'm not sure what that is.
A new addition.
That's a new addition after winter break. I've seen a total of 2 people playing it, so you could be the third.
So you can play piano multiple places on campus.
Oh, and in our chapel as well. So the chapel is open to any student on campus, and so when I go in there for rehearsals and things like that, there will be people playing piano by themselves just as a way to calm down after a stressful day.
So Aya is asking, what things can you do on campus?
What can't you do on campus is the real question. You can do a lot, and it also kind of helps that we have a lot of clubs as well. So if you can't figure out what you want to do, Club Fair happens every year, and there are 60 plus clubs that you can join. If we don't have that club, which is highly unlikely, it only takes 4 other signatures to make a club. And I always suggest really just signing up for anything that piques your interest, because even if you can't make the meetings, you get notified of the meetings. And I'm probably signed up for 12 clubs, maybe 14. And I only really go to one. Which is Frisbee. But I just like knowing what's happening. There's a bad movie watching club. There's a beekeeping club, and they collect honey every now and then. There's a Dungeons and Dragons club, a cooking club. There's a Explore Baltimore club. So for somebody who wants to explore Baltimore, you could join that club as well. There's too much to do on campus.
I'm also signed up for too many clubs. My email is always full. Some of the other ones that I really enjoy, we have the Outdoor Adventure Club, so they'll plan different trips like over a fall break. There were some students who went and they stayed in a cabin, and it was super cool for them. I didn't get to go, but it was a really good experience. So there's so many opportunities. You'll never be bored or without something to do.
And then kind of outside of the club element, any sort of traditions to talk about? Just general events on campus.
Oh, yeah, there's so many events. I'm on the student engagement team. I don't know why it took me so long. Throughout the semester, each semester has, I want to say, 2 major events. In the fall, it is it's Gala and Stimsgiving. And in the winter, it's Winter Carnival and Gig. Gig is the Friday after our spring break. It is a day after 12 o'clock. If you have no classes, your day is basically canceled. If you do have classes, those are canceled as well. I actually have no classes this Friday. I'm really blessed to just have a full day of Gig. But that is a just really fun event because it's a day for students to act like kids for a whole day. We get a live band. There's always a free lunch. There's always random carnival rides to go on. There's always free food. We planned it last year, and the only thing I ever asked for at every meeting was a churro truck. And I know it's a lot to ask. It's a churro truck, but we got the churro truck. So Goucher kind of makes dreams come true. You know?
Well, there you go. Get your churro truck. So Lily is wondering if there's anywhere to hang out outside or go hiking.
So on our residential quad, which is where basically all of our residential buildings are, there are a lot of hammocks you can lay on when it's not freezing cold outside. So a lot of people will spend time out there. It's been warmer recently, so a lot of people have been laying outside, reading, studying with friends, playing Frisbee. And then we're actually surrounded by woods, and so there are a lot of hiking trails. People will use those for running, walking, in some cases. And then our old equestrian field, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the old
equestrian field. Yeah, is like a meadow at the end one of our trails, and so a lot of people will actually picnic there. They'll hang out and play music there. So there are a lot of places to explore nature, though we're in a relatively urban area.
And then Loch Raven is closest to here. It's about 20 to 30 minutes away if you drive there. And it's a big wooded area, and there's, I think, about 2 or 3 waterfalls in there. So if you ever really want to go look for a waterfall, you can go. I've done it before. It's really fun. You go chasing waterfalls, yeah. And there's the Goucher outdoor activity thing that you were just talking about. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity to go outside. So have to get to class. You do have to walk outside.
That's true.
Very true. So Taylor is wondering how to get involved with the equestrian program. First of all, start off with, we do have an equestrian program.
Yes, and it's D1. They're very, very good. What I would probably recommend doing, it's, what?
D3.
No, our equestrian team's not.
It's not.
So all of our sports are D3. Okay, I thought our equestrian program was D1. It is not. But either way, they're consistently nationally ranked. And so what I would recommend doing is reaching out to the coach. And so you can find all of the coach's emails online. They're super accessible and very welcome to interacting with students while they're in high school still, so that they can start acclimating you to what the program would entail and see if it's right for you. You can also take an equestrian class if you're not interested in being on the team. So that's really cool. You can ride as part of your class and get credit for it, or you can just go and see the horses, which is fun as well.
You do have to pay an insurance on the horse if you take the class, though. So just beware. You know, it's like $800 for that class. And if you mess up, because you can't replace the horse. That's why it's $800. Okay, sidetracked here.
Very true. So Taylor is also asking about the orchestra at Goucher. And so this was actually answered in the last AMA. So you can actually go to that to kind of see the bigger answer. And it was actually answered by Sophia, who is involved in orchestra. So now Marissa is asking, how many people board as compared to commute? And then what is there to do on weekends for people who are from places farther away? You want to talk about living on campus?
I would say about 98% of our campus, or 98% of our students do live on campus. Only a small percentage commute, and that's probably because they live probably about 30 miles away from here. But there is a lot to do on campus, even on the weekends. I'm on the student engagement team. We throw events every now and then. Winter Carnival was last week, Saturday. And I live in Boston, so that's relatively far away. I don't know what far away is to you, Marissa, but I always find something to do because you're meeting so many people on the first day that you get here that there's always going to be something to do on the weekend.
I want to kind of touch on resident life in general and the first year village.
Sure. So this year we actually have 2 brand new buildings. So in our first year village, there are 3, all 3 of which are almost brand new. 2 are, and they're super nice because we have 3 buildings in one centralized area only for first year students. So we've really built a sense of rapport with the people we interact with every day. We're just all becoming really great friends because we spend a lot of time together. It's really nice because there are different activities, different rooms in each building geared towards spending time with other people so that you're encouraged to make friends, not spend all day in your dorm, and really acclimate yourself to college life. So I live in Fireside. That's one of the 3 buildings, and we have this gigantic kitchen. It's so nice. And so it has this camera system. So if you want to make a cooking blog, you can. If you want to try different cultural foods, there are a lot of different nights around that. Different faculty and residents people will bake with you. So those are people who live in your building who actually serve on the faculty. And so there are a lot of different opportunities within our buildings as well to interact with people.
I also, going off the point of you saying you can't really stay in your room, you're not going to be able to stay in your room too much. They slowed down the Wi-Fi in the rooms and made it faster in the common room. So if you wanted to watch a movie, you're probably going to watch it in the common room, i.e. you'll probably make more friends that way, you know? Connections.
There's no one like that.
Very true. So we have Mateen. Are there internships or study abroad opportunities that I can gain work experience doing?
Yes. If you come to, when you come to school, because I'm expecting you to teen now, There is the CEO, which is our career education office, and they have a website called Goucher Recruit that anybody can go on to find jobs and internships on campus. That same office, CEO, will do a campus job fair at the beginning of each semester, so it's fairly easy to find a job in the area or in the field that you were interested in. And if you are also interested, depending on what major or field you decide to go into, a few of our professors do summer research here, where they'll just stay here and you can get paid to work with them on whatever project that they're working on.
Now, the other side of that, study abroad. So Goucher's in a pretty unique spot for that. Want to start with that, Alton?
I love study abroad. I have loved the fact that I came to this school because I went to study abroad, or I was required to go to study abroad. When I did an ICA, which is an intensive course abroad, it's a 3-week program, and there are semesters which are in our fall and spring semester. The ICAs are usually in the winter and the summer break, and for abroad, I went to Japan and Taiwan. We were studying history. It was a history. We were studying how the imperialism had shaped Japanese and Taiwanese identity. So for 3 weeks, I was in museums, I was in shrines, I was just kind of walking around in this brand new place, and it was so beautiful. Honestly, Japan has been at the top of my list since I was probably about 6. So I've checked a milestone off my list. And I remember too, because it was very easy to go abroad. I had to answer maybe 4 or 5 questions, and it was like, why do you want to go abroad? Because I've never been abroad. What do you hope to achieve when you go here? To experience a new culture and kind of have fun. But it's a really good program, and I truly appreciate the fact that we did here, that I came here to go abroad. And everybody finds their program, whether you want to do it for 3 weeks or if you want to do it for a semester. You just have to know yourself. If you want to be basically in a whole new home for 5 months, that's what it would be like to go abroad for a whole semester. If you want to kind of step in and step out, you can do an ICA. Yeah.
You want to throw out some places that some of your friends have gone?
Oh, wow, where haven't they gone? A couple of my friends have been, were in Spain last semester. One of my friends just came back from New Zealand. I think my friend was in Russia. Brandon right now is in London. One of our other people, Antonia, she's also in London, I think. The semesters here when people go abroad, it's very hard to tell who's gone and who's not here, because they just kind of just disappear and you don't know until you see like a picture on Instagram. It's like, oh yeah, I'm here doing this. It's a lot of places. I think one of my friends a couple of my friends just came back from South Africa. So they were there for a 3-week program in the winter break, and then they just got back here.
And speaking of people being abroad right now, Brandon Rodriguez, one of our student ambassadors, is currently in Turin in Italy, and is actually live streaming from the Goucher Hub Instagram today. So if you want to check out his experience, definitely go to that. Okay, so next question from Vanessa. If you had to describe the Goucher community using one word, what would it be?
Good question, Vanessa. I would say dynamic.
Good word.
My word's always welcoming.
You want to elaborate on the choice?
I say welcoming because it kind of goes off what I was saying earlier. You can kind of be whoever you decide to be or whoever you think the next best you is here. People are very receptive to that and very welcome.
And along that vein, looking towards the next best you can become that person, because it is very dynamic and everyone's always changing and adapting to different norms.
Change is a big thing here.
Okay. So next, Gary has a question about athletics. So do Goucher athletic scouts or coaches attend prospect days or showcases in lacrosse in Connecticut?
To be honest, what I would probably recommend doing would be to reach out to the coach. The men's lacrosse coach is incredibly friendly. He's so kind. And so if you just send him an email, you can send him a schedule of places that you're playing. He can send you a schedule of the tournaments that he's interested in going to. And so that you can kind of see if there's any overlap. And if there isn't, you can always send film, come for an overnight. There are a lot of different opportunities. But I would say making contact with him would be the first step.
So then Audrey is wondering, could you tell me about volunteer opportunities and clubs for volunteering?
The community-based learning office is a office where you want to go to if you're interested in volunteering. They have 11 programs that you can get involved with. You can get involved with for just a semester if that's all you can do, or for the whole time that you're here. They're really great programs. There's Read a Story, Write a Story, where you go to Barclay Middle School and you read to kids for an hour and a half and you help them write a story, which is so much fun. There's middle school mentoring, where it's basically the opposite. Kids will come here and we'll tutor and play games with them for an hour, get dinner, and then send them back to the school. There's an animal welfare program, which I talked about earlier. You help cats and dogs get rehabilitated into society. And there's GPEP, which is one of our more popular programs, the Goucher Prison Education Program, where you help a teacher tutor current prisoners so that they can get their college degree. And once they are out of prison, they come to Goucher and finish off the degree.
So Ariana is asking, where's your favorite place to study on campus?
My favorite place to study when it's warm out is on the hammocks in our residential quad. And when it's not, we have an Athenaeum, that's our library. So it's a gigantic building with hundreds of thousands of books. And it's very naturally lit, so you don't really feel like you're in a cramped library. It's very open, very welcoming, and it's open 24/7 for the majority of the year. So you can spend lots of time studying there.
Hopefully studying. Hopefully studying.
My favorite place would also be the library. My second favorite place would be the chapel, because nobody looks for you in the chapel, and I can actually get work done in the chapel because nobody looks for you in the chapel. I think the second part of the question, is there tutoring for writing if you need it? We have a writing center on campus. We have two. There is the writing program, which is run by our writing professors here, and there is the writing office in the library, which is open till 10:30 every night. So there is tutoring for writing.
And then let's talk about professors' office hours and what happens if you can't make it to those hours.
So professors will have set office hours. They establish them at the beginning of the semester, and so you can go, and like you said earlier, most of them have open door policy. So even if it's not within their specific office hours and you see their door happen to be open, you can go in and ask a question. But if you can't go during office hours, you can send them an email. Most professors are really welcome to meeting you outside of their normal times. Also, you have those SIs we talked about earlier, the TAs, the writing center. We have the QR center, so that's also in the AF. That's the quantitative reasoning center, so that's more of your math tutoring side. And then ACE, the Academic Center for Excellence. So you're never going to be without an academic resource. There's so many opportunities on campus.
Great. Okay, so Nora wants you guys to talk about the class environment and teaching style.
It would depend on what kind of class you have. There are two style classes that we have here. There's a lecture-based style class, and then there's the discussion-based style class. The lecture-based is your traditional course, teachers at the board giving a lecture, students are writing down notes and asking questions. But for a lecture-based class, it's much easier to get involved, especially at Goucher, because our class sizes are very small. So you don't feel like you have to fight somebody else to ask a question. You can kind of just raise your hand and somebody will answer you, the teacher most likely. And for the discussion-based style courses, I actually love those a little bit more because I'm not the most talkative person and the teacher's not really giving a lecture. They are sitting in a circle or sitting at the setup, and they are prompting the students to talk about whatever they read, whatever they did for homework. And I like this one a lot more because I'm not the most talkative in class, but in these ones, I find that I can speak up just once and that'll be my contribution, and I feel great about that one. And then the next time I'll say maybe two things, and the next time I'll say maybe three things. But the discussion-based style courses are kind of my favorite classes.
In regards to teaching style, I would say that it's very dependent on the students in the class. Most professors try to gear their teaching style not towards what's preferable for them, but what's preferable for the students. That's what I've found. A lot of my professors will ask us how we learn best and then try to adapt their normal curriculum to us, which is super helpful and not something that could really happen at a larger school.
So kind of going off of that, what has been your largest class in terms of numbers of students?
33 students. That has been my largest class. It was an education course, and everybody in there was teachers, except for Elton. Elton was just there to take the class. He was interested.
And what about smallest class?
4. independent study with a philosophy professor and 3 other people.
I had a class of 10. It wasn't an independent study, so that was still relatively small.
Definitely. Mateen is wondering, what is classwork like? Definitely varies on class to class. But want to talk kind of about the different assignments you've had?
Goucher is very based around community and interacting with others, and so a lot of the classwork I've had has been collaborative, so we do a lot of group projects. And in high school, I hated group projects. I always felt like there was this weird imbalance of who should do what, and it just never seemed to be a good experience. But here, everyone really works to contribute and to really grow a lot because of what you're doing, and so it's so much fun to have classwork that involves a lot of other people, and so you get to meet even more people.
I would also say it depends on what your major is, because there are some majors like computer science where you don't have to write a single paper. So it depends on what your major is. For me, I'm a history major, and it's a lot of reading and a lot of discussing, and I'm okay with that. I love a good read. So it's like 30-page readings, which I don't really find hard, and maybe like a 5-page paper. But the capstone is really when you're going to have the most work, because it's your final project for whatever major you're in. So I have to write a 25-page paper, do 40 half-page notes, and read 4 books, which is an interesting thing because I have to do this all by myself. It's not a class. Like, I'm just doing this all by myself.
That's self-motivation.
Yeah, self-motivation. That's what we call it.
Hey, so then Gabby is wondering, are there many dance clubs outside of the actual dance program? Like hip-hop, house, Krump, etc.?
We have a hip-hop team. We have the Dancers of Color Coalition. There's the Goucher Dancers, which is not a club here. It's a group of the people in the program who made the club or made a group of themselves. We don't have a Krump team. Really wish we had a Krump team. That would be so cool.
You can start one.
Yes, you can. We have a step team. There's a salsa club. There's I feel like at one point there was an Irish dance club, but that might have phased out with whoever graduated. And even if you're not in the dance program though, you can still take a dance class. So it doesn't matter if you are a dancer or not. You can just join the class for interest. I've taken African drum and dance, and I can dance, but it was fun still. So it's all just about trying new things.
Definitely. Okay, so what help is there for finding a job upon graduation? Also, let's speak to this one. Have the senior answer this.
There's the career education office who has been emailing me nonstop about what am I doing, and it's really helpful because they are more into helping you throughout your classes in the first 4 years that you're here. And once you're graduated, you can still call up and ask, like, if I'll be graduating in 4 months, 3 months, something like that. And right after, I will be calling, like, hey, can somebody look over my resume, which is I'll be calling the career education office. They do a lot in the classroom as well. So when you're here, you'll have a class, Writing 181, where you'll have to know how to write a resume. You'll have to know how to do a cover letter. And at some point, you'll have to know how to find an internship. So by the time you get to graduation, you'll have this all figured out. You wouldn't really be scrambling and trying to figure out where everything goes. I'm not saying I'm scrambling. I'm just saying I kind of know what I want to do.
The CEO actually just launched a program starting this year called the Goucher Advantage, where they try to incorporate these career-minded techniques and strategies into our classes throughout all 4 years. So like Writing 81 is an example. And then for every year here, I'll have a class in which the CEO is somehow involved, so that when I am a senior, I'm not terrified of what lies beyond and not without direction. I won't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'll at least have the means to figure it out.
Right, definitely. So it looks like we have a follow-up question kind of back to the classroom style.
Mm-hmm.
So how would teachers manage to accommodate everyone's learning style within the classroom?
Honestly, teachers here are really personable. I say this because I've been here for 4 years, and I've had teachers who literally know exactly how I work. And it's very interesting how they juggle everything, because sometimes they'll give you an assignment and they'll let you do it the way that you want to do it. But when you need it to be reviewed, you have to go through the professor, which is kind of how they accommodate for everybody. The way I write majority of all the papers I've written at school is I write them down by hand first because I just can't type them up. It just, if there's a blockage, I just really need to write it all down. So I've had days where there was like a 10-page paper done and I'll come into class and I'll have like a whole notebook and it's just like, this is my paper, it's done. I'm gonna type it up and I'll send it to you by like 5 o'clock. And that's kind of how I would work out. That's how I work out. And I've had students I've had classmates who do the work like 4 days before it's actually even due, or some of them will just do the homework weeks before it's actually due and just have it done. And that's kind of how they work. It really just depends on how you work, really.
So then the teen is asking, are there mandatory classes that you take along with the ones that you choose?
So there are mandatory classes in your major. So if you pick your major, like I'm a chemistry major, so I have to take a lot of chemistry courses, and then I have to take biology, physics, different things like that. So it's dependent on your interest. But also there are classes, for example, we have are known as CPE. So all of our majors are divided into 1 of 4 categories. So for example, I'm a chemistry major, that's in the D category, CPE-D, so that's like our STEM-based category. So I have to take a CPE in the other 3 categories, so A, B, and C. And that is intended to broaden our perspectives, make us more interdisciplinary thinkers. So right now I have a CPE-B, which is disease and discrimination, that's what it's called. And so it kind of, it's so cool. It kind of deals with the medical side of things, which is why I'm a chemistry major, but it also looks at them from the perspective of a sociologist, which is something that I, in the chemistry major alone, would never experience. And so that really helps because those requirements exist.
And there are also the writing courses that you have to take. If you're not a chemistry major, you have to take a science course. We don't require that you take math, but we do require that you'll take a data analytics course. And we don't have an art requirement. It's not new, right?
The CPEA covers it.
Okay.
So if you're not in, for example, the arts, a major within the arts, you take a CPEA course, which is like your arts, communications, dance studies, things like that. Just so you have something in almost every discipline in your classes. We also have a foreign language requirement. So you have to take, basically, you can test out of a certain, like I tested into the 2nd level of Spanish, but you have to take 3 of a foreign language if you don't test into one, both. There's some people who test into the 3rd one because they're brilliant and only have to take 1. So it's dependent on your level, but it's geared towards whatever you need as a student.
So then we have a question, is it easy to change majors? Alton?
Yes, I changed my major my senior year.
Not encouraged. I will say that.
No, definitely not. I went abroad, and at the end of the last year, I wasn't entirely happy with how much I did in the education department. And when I went on my ICA, I was talking with only history majors for 3 weeks, and my professor at Dali realized that I had taken so many courses in the history major over the time that I was here. I had already finished like halfway through the major, so I just had to finish the rest of the major within this year's, within this year and last year, or this year and last year. And I will be graduating in March. I think I'll be 2 credits short, but I'll be graduated in March and then finish out in August. So I want to.
It's coming.
I'm not ready for it, but
I will say with that you don't have to declare your major until the end of your sophomore year. So you do have time to sort of figure it all out and figure out what you're interested in. And hopefully just don't wait until your senior year to get that straightened out. But I mean, Alton can do it. So
I had a lot of fun classes last year. They were all lectures. That's something you'd have to do if you're going to jump into a major. You're probably just going to have most of the core courses. I had 2 night courses last semester. That was fun.
Okay. So next question is from Nora. What is it like living on the East Coast? How do you deal with the cold and the rain and the snow? I'm from California, if you couldn't tell.
I'm from Pennsylvania, which is only an hour from here, so I'm pretty used to the weather. But actually, a lot of my friends are from California and Florida. But we actually have a surprising number of students from those two states, which is interesting. And they actually find that they almost miss the snow when they go home. I know, it sounds weird, but I've heard it from a lot of people. It's just a very different environment, literally. And so just pack lots of warm clothing. You'll be fine. It's really easy to adjust because we have very distinct seasons, so you'll know when you need to start dressing warmly. It's not really that much of a concern.
Or you'll get a day like today.
Exactly.
Just so nice.
65, 64, something like that. I would also say it's not as cold as it could be. You know, I'm from Boston, and it was 5 degrees when I was coming back here. So it could be a lot colder. It's not the worst thing. And when it snows, it doesn't snow that much. I think the most we got all year was 2-3 inches. And the biggest problem is that it will freeze over and turn into ice. And that's probably what you have to worry about more than the snow. And it does rain a lot here. It just kind of downpours sometimes. And it could be raining for 3 weeks, but it's really nice. I do like the weather here. It's quaint.
It's all about being prepared for the various weather that you're going to encounter.
Bring a hood and an umbrella.
Rain boots.
And a scarf.
All of that.
No gloves.
It's not that cold.
It's not that
No
cold.
bossing.
You might want a pair of gloves. Just putting it out there. Okay, so then Amanda is wondering, how ethnically diverse is the campus?
I would say very. Our ratio of students of color at the school is around 45%. It's also diverse in the sense that if you feel like you needed someone to talk to who identifies as the same ethnic identity as you, you can. There are a couple of clubs in place, like there is Emojo, which is a Black student union. There's the Asian student union. There is the CRE, that's the office, the Center of Race, Equity, and Identity. There's the Goucher Women of Color Coalition. There are a lot of programs where if you feel like you needed to talk to somebody inside of your own race, you definitely can do that. And you will also see the difference from, I don't know where you were from, Amanda, but you will see that there are a lot of people who either look like you or don't look like you, but you will all still be Goucher students in the eyes of the Goucher sphere.
Great answer. So Ariana's wondering, I understand that you're building a new tennis court. Is it possible to add a tennis club?
For the signatures. You absolutely can. You could also join the team if you wanted to. This is so fun.
Okay, so next question. How do I find a job on campus?
Campus job fair, which happens twice each year, once each semester. I think actually 3 times. There's a local job fair. So local places like the movie theater's right up the street. Chipotle will sometimes come here. Starbucks there's 2 of them down the street. They'll come here for a day and just ask you if you want to work for them. It's fairly easy to find a job on campus. I think, aren't you the first? Yeah, you found a job like the first 3 weeks that she was here. So
yeah, I had my first day less than a month into school. So it's very accessible to find a job. And there's so many different types of jobs you can find. So you don't have to, work in admissions. But if you wanted to, you could, but there are also so many in different aspects. So you can work in our library, the Athenaeum. You can work as a front desk worker in our sports center. You can work at different sporting events and run the clock.
You could be the gopher.
You could be the gopher. Aw, yeah. So there are lots of different opportunities.
So we touched on this a little bit, but where will you live? Are students required to live on campus for all 4 years? Just kind of swing back to the first year village idea.
For your first year, you'll live in the first year village. So it's every first year student will live there, and you'll live with one roommate. And so roommates are decided based on, you'll fill out a roommate form, and you'll say, do you like studying with music or without music? Do you like waking up early or sleeping in? And so they'll try to pair you with someone who not only has similar interests, but also, a similar way of life. And so that's really helpful.
Definitely be honest about that. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice.
You will not like the person you know. You don't have to be like, yeah, I'm cool. I stay up late. Don't lie. If you don't stay up late, you don't stay up late.
So you'll live with a roommate in the Goucher Village for your first year, and then you're gonna take it away for you after that.
After that, there are many different options of living on campus. You can either live in a suite, which is a room with 4 people. You get your own bathroom and a small common room, or you can live in an apartment, which is a step up from the suite. 4 rooms, you get your own kitchen, common room, and bathroom. You can live in a single like I do, and I have a triple that's got turned into a single, which is it's large. We no longer have triples as well, and then we have doubles. So there are plenty of living options on campus. It depends on how close you want to be from everybody else, your friends, the classes, and the food. Really. The food is the most important part.
Okay. So Arnold is wondering, is study abroad mandatory?
Yes. Do it. You'll love it. It's a life-changing experience. It can be a lot of fun, and it can also be the most stressful thing you've ever done in your life. But you will come out of it a different person. I can guarantee that much.
So my teen is wondering, what majors do you offer? Because I'm interested in becoming a physician or something in the medical field.
So, if you're looking at the medical field, a lot of my friends are also doing that. So chemistry, biochem, biology, we have a public health minor, and so any of those are great to consider. But also to apply for medical school, for example, you don't have to major in one of those disciplines. You could almost major in anything as long as you take the classes needed for the MCAT. So you don't really have to confine yourself. We also have an IIM, so that's an individualized interdisciplinary major, where you can take 3 different interests you have and kind of create your own major with its own specific purpose for you. So if you had a lot of cross-curricular interests, but you still want to have that end goal of going to medical school, that's another option for you as well.
So we're also from Ariana, do we have a business analytics major or minor?
Yes, major and minor.
I think it's business management, business studies. All right.
Nora is wondering if we can talk about intramural sports.
We have, to my knowledge, 4 intramural sports: soccer, ultimate frisbee, basketball, and flag football, which was supposed to be added. Is added. We don't know yet, but it's supposed to be a part of this year.
I feel like some people play volleyball.
Yeah, so we have a couple. If you ever wanted to make an intramural sport, you can always go to our club coordinator, and she has an office in the first year village, so it's very easy to find her. And you can just say, "Hey, me and these 10 people want to play this game. Can you help us out somehow?" And it's very easy. Intramural is also very fun too. I play intramural frisbee. And it's like night frisbee, can happen once a week. We usually play for about an hour and a half, and then that's about it. It's a fun time. Yeah.
A lacrosse coach had us play soccer, which is better for some people than others, bad for me. But as an experience, it was a lot of fun. We met a lot of different people on campus. There were actually some professors who played intramural soccer against us, which was really cool and just speaks to the closeness of the campus, the community of the campus, so it's a great way to meet people as well.
Okay, so this is one that probably a lot of people have thoughts and fears about transitioning into college. So what made you nervous about going to college, and then also what made you excited?
Probably the change in my own agency of my actions. I could pretty much decide to do anything I wanted, but I, no longer have my mom mostly to fall back on and to help me deal with the consequences of those actions. So I get to make a lot of decisions, but I also deal with anything associated with the decisions I make. So it's actually been super exciting because it has helped me to, really look at myself, identify what I want and how I need to get it. Can be difficult, but the transition to college is difficult, but that's why we have so many resources on campus to help you deal with those things that do make you nervous.
I can't say too much other than maybe making friends, because while being homeschooled, I took college courses, so I was kind of kind of prepared for that, but I don't think really anything prepares you for a Goucher class. But I think that's what made me the most nervous. I was not a very talkative person 4 years ago. I was saying this earlier. I would clamor up. I would put my headphones in, and I would just go everywhere. But I realized 2 weeks into being here that I can't do that if I'm nervous about making friends, because then everybody's just going to avoid me. It's really what happened. Like somebody came up to me and they're like, Alton, like, why do you always wear your headphones all the time? You know, people are like really scared of you because you kind of just walk up and down Van Meter and you always have music in. So that was probably the biggest hump that I had to get over, talking to other people. I think that still makes me nervous to this day. Like I'm better, but I'm just a little bit better. What made you excited?
Made me excited. Probably the range of opportunities. It's just such a change in environment. I was so excited about meeting new people and living with different people. I was actually super excited to have a roommate, and I love my roommate. Hi, Julia. I hope she's watching. I think she is. And so, like, living with the people you go to school with is a really interesting dynamic, but it really strengthens the connections you have with those people.
The
food.
The food.
I'm just kidding.
Made me very excited. Yeah, I would also say the new opportunity. Like, even though I was pretty scared of like going to meet a whole bunch of new people, the fact that I was stepping into a new place for the next 4 years and kind of building up a new me was kind of the most exciting part of it.
Yeah. No, I think those are very real kind of fears and excitements, and kind of what I was feeling too, starting off with that.
It's totally okay to be scared.
Oh, it's definitely
Absolutely. So Sammy is wondering, when do students register for classes?
You register the summer before you get here, and then the fall before your next semester. So everybody gets their own registration time. Seniors usually get their pick first, then juniors, then sophomores, then first years. But it's usually a 1 week period in the semester or in the summer where you have to just go through everything. And the easiest thing to do is probably talk to an advisor or somebody who's helping you through the first year experience on what kind of classes would be good classes to take for the first year that you get here. But it's fairly easy to do that. And you will get many reminders on signing up for classes.
And as a first year, you'll receive an email with recommendations for classes you should take, especially if you have an interest in a particular major. They'll try to align your classes with something that you may be interested in, and that'll eventually help you.
Okay, so we're going to have one last question for tonight. Why should I attend Goucher College for the next 4 years?
It's a life-changing experience, only because it takes you out of a box that you are so set in for your high school and your hometown, and especially if you're coming from like California, you're really coming into a whole new place. Goucher really helps people who want to see something better in themselves or just be a different person in general. And I also think that the amount of opportunities that we have, either being in the school or outside the school, is just amazing for a small school like this, because I went abroad and I met 4 people who went to this school like 10 years ago. And I never thought I would see them, but they were like, oh, you're wearing a Goucher shirt. I went there. And it's like really weird, but it's also very interesting to talk to these people in a foreign country about their time at Goucher 10 years ago. And how that school had changed them and has been so happy for them. And now they're doing this because Goucher helped them achieve something in their life. And it's really interesting. It's really great. Also, we require you to go abroad. And that is the big reason why you should come here for the next 4 years. Because it's very hard to go abroad after school if your school didn't require you to. And it's also, it's never been easier to probably go abroad at this school. It's very easy, very accessible, because the Office of International Studies will sit down and do a lot of the work with you to help you get abroad. So it's not that the most difficult thing.
Oh, why should you attend Goucher? I'll talk about why I feel like I attended Goucher, and that'll translate to you, I suppose. So in high school, I feel like I had an idea of who I wanted to become, like what I wanted out of my college experience, but I didn't know how to get it. And I was hoping that I would figure it out. I would figure it out on my own, realistically, And as I was going through the decision-making process, I realized I just couldn't. So I wanted to go to a school where I felt like not knowing was okay, but I would eventually have the ability to know and also have the ability to change my path if I needed to. And Goucher has allowed me to identify who I want to become and also how to get there. And I think that at a lot of other schools, in terms of like academic rigor, it would have rivaled what I experienced, and it would have prepared me for what I want to do beyond Goucher. But in all the other factors of my life, Goucher is the place that really allows people to grow, allows me to grow, and allows like us to grow together as people.
I would also say come to Goucher, especially if you don't think a large university-based school is for you. Like if you don't think that you personally would thrive in a place where it's about like 15,000 students and there's Greek life and there's so much to do, but your campus is so large, so you don't think you'll ever actually meet everybody, this is the place for you, because I can say confidently that I've met so many people here that I know I will still be friends with 5, 6, 10 years after this.
The impact of Goucher will stay with you for your entire lives.
So long.
Which is so important.
I think that's the best way to end this. So thank you everyone for watching. We would love you to be able to come and visit our campus. We will be having 3 Gopher Days for admitted students on Monday, April 1st, Saturday, April 13th, Monday, April 22nd. We also have daily visits available Monday through Friday, as well as some Saturdays and Sundays. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And we'll also be offering some Goucher-bound events in mid-March. All dates and registrations are available on our website. So come see if we're going to be in a city near you. If you're ready to commit to Goucher, you can do so through your application portal. If you're not there yet, let us know what more you need to get to your decision, via email, text, in person, or through our future AMAs. We will have 2 other AMAs coming up, plus some summer dates as well. So be on the lookout for Thursday, March 7th, and Thursday, April 25th, both at 9 p.m. And then also be aware of the May 1st deposit deadline as well. So thank you all for watching, and have a great night.
Thank you.